And welcome back to the Battle Theater and game number 2 between Immortals and Apex. In game 1, Ray started absolutely huge. You could almost say mega, but Immortals was able to keep a thumb on him and push their way to a 33-minute victory.
Yeah, that was very impressive Gnar play, but Ray can't be everywhere at once. They wanted him split pushing because he had advantage there, but you kind of also need him in the 5-man fight to block Jhin bullets. Regardless, though, he is definitely the star, and they showed that that's their strategy. They want to go, just like a lot of other people do, attack Huni in the top lane and try and beat Immortals that way. Wasn't going to be the case, though, and Apex are also going to have to clean up their late-game shot calling because the Baron decisions, as well as, the 4-man squad getting caught a couple times, those are things they're going to need to clean up, even though they did have some improvements. Now, Immortals, they actually don't want to give away a single game. So they're going to keep up the pace here because they're on that chase for TSM. They want to win every single game until they meet TSM to try and tie up the match series with and go 1-1 with TSM and then have the extra game advantage.
That's the thing. They keep talking about it. We heard it from Huni weeks ago now. They're only focusing on that TSM match, but it is important that they stay strong, stay focused, and make sure they claim every single game, not just match, game up until that point. And then when they play TSM again in the last week, we'll see what happens, I guess.
I mean, there is a little bit of joking in that with Huni talking about, oh, yeah, we only prep the TSM. Obviously, their coaching staff's going to make the prep for the other teams as well, too. But that's really where their minds are at. It's the psychology of all the players. They're like, we need to beat TSM. They took us early in the season. We need to get them back and try and even it up so that they can try and jockey for that first place spot.
Well, certainly looking like they could do it now. A kind of bumpy back and forth game, but Immortals continuing to play that same intelligent style that is so aggressive and high pressure. Apex, they kept up every now and then. They had a good proactive early game, but failing to convert in the mid to late game seems to be the current curse for Apex. We'll see if they can change here as we are into champ select for game number 2. Immortals on the blue side this time around. We'll see what they want to take for their first ban. Apex, of course, hanging out over on the red side.
All right, let's take a look, because that was one of the questionable things, actually. As they talked about on the analyst desk, the jungler pool with Nidalee and Rek'Sai being banned and first picking the Elise, whereas Reignover is very comfortable, and he's even played a lot of Gragas in the past as well, so not really a surprise that he was able to default back to that.
The Sona banned away there from Immortals, so respecting the power of the champion. Adrian's played it twice to 2 wins so far. And there's Malzahar banned away by Apex, so just some current stuff getting taken away right now. We'll see if Apex maybe going to continue the trend of just banning away the strong champions, or if they have a targeted ban in mind with this second one.
Yeah, the more you think about it too, like, it kind of feels like Apex tunneled on the stereotypical view of Immortals, where in picks and bans they were focusing on Reignover because they banned junglers and they first picked a jungler, and then in game they were focusing on Huni, so they're kind of falling into that camp where everyone's like, oh, Immortals, it's just Reignover and Huni carrying everybody, and they play around the top lane, and Reignover's a god, and Huni goes off on people. But very clearly, as Immortals showed last game, Wild Turtle and Bobelta are very capable of picking up any slack if Huni does get focused early on.
And that's the thing, Huni, honestly got destroyed in the early stages of that lane. Ray was so far ahead as Aurelia and Sivir will round out the ban. But Reignover wasn't even going top, really. He's like, all right, Huni, have fun. You'll be relevant still. You're a Rumble.
Yeah.
And Wild Turtle got that attention, able to carry it through as there's the Ashe first pick for Immortals.
Reignover was happy to focus on the bottom side, and he was rewarded for his efforts. Jhin, off to an early lead, is very good against Caitlyn. But Ashe as well. Now there's the possibility of those Wild Turtle arrow snipes that we talked about in the last game. See if he can be the engage for the team and it takes some of that burden off of Reignover's shoulders, who usually has to be the main one filling that role. Meanwhile, really quick lock-in of the Tahm Kench. This could be, again, the top Tahm Kench for Ray, but it is always also a flexible pick. There's a possibility they make a special play it and swap it down to the bottom lane.
Might go back to those melee supports as he's been playing as Shrimp, actually. Continuing to show preference for Elise here. Gragas still up, but he clearly doesn't want to play it. He feels more comfortable in this champion. Yeah,
he definitely does. I really am wondering as well about the Taliyah pickup, though. That's the last thing that Apex actually comboed the Tahm Kench with. Try and use the newer, quicker Tahm Kench ultimate to pick people off, bring someone else with you, and then have Taliyah lay that wall in front of them to actually cut them off and make sure they can't escape.
Immortals, though, Looks like they'll just take it safe here. I can't imagine Rainova won't go back to Gragas after his game 1, given that it's been left available and open. And Pobelsa, you know, has played some Taliyah already, could pick it up if he wants to, but if he's happy with maybe a counter pick or just giving it over to Keen, if Keen does want to play it, they might just finish the bottom lane here. And Adrian, Pobelsa's hovering a classic here for him. As Soraka is going to get locked in, Gragas will join her.
Yeah, biggest difference this time around is that Immortals, you know, thinking about this ahead of time, banning out the Sona so that they can pick up the Soraka and have the Queen of Sustain. Now the Nami is an option for Xpecial, but I think he might, as you say, go back to those melee supports. He's been filling that role a lot for the team. And could be the Tahm Kench still, you know, could be a Braum. Braum is very good into Gragas as well, so that would also help out with trying to counter Rainover. They pick up the Braum and make Rave play Tahm Kench top.
There's part of your answer, because Gangplank is locked in there alongside Jhin, so it's probably Xpecial on the Tahm Kench. Hard to say where the GP is going to go. Could be mid, could be top. I have started to see some top lane Gangplank kind of come back, usually into Shen.
Yeah, could be top lane Gangplank. There is the possibility of Keen, of course, playing the champion. That would seem like a lot of attack damage as far as the damage profile of the team overall, but Elise has such high assassination threats that you kind of have to respect that magic damage, as well as the new and improved earlier on-hit auto attack magic damage from Tahm Kench. So there's a little bit, you know, fishing around there, as well as Gangplank shreds through so much armor anyway that it might not be too big of an issue. Meanwhile, Immortals gonna go right back to that triple AP, and the only really big variation there, initiation with the Ashe.
Yep, I mean, Jhin before is kind of similar. We had banned Sona, so we took Soraka. Like, it feels very similar to the first comp Immortals played, so it seems that they're happy with it, particularly the Vladimir Rumble combination. See if they can be just as effective as they were last game. Rainova, of course, though, is going to be back doing a ton of work from the engage and jungle position. Apex, though, will leave a counter pick open. Is it Ray they've left it for, or is it Kane? We'll see what the last pick is here.
Yes, all your questions will be revealed on the next episode of Champion Select.
Ooh,
versus Immortal.
That's new Rice, don't forget.
Yeah, all right, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Ooh, okay, I'll get ahead of myself too. Hey, I'm getting on the party. But honestly, if we look at the other side first, because Immortals are all locked in.
Okay.
They have the exact same game plan with the little added bonus of now they have reliable Ashe arrow. Well, pretty reliable Ashe arrows, honestly. From Wild Turtle to start things off for them, and they're just going to have a little bit of a change. They want Huni to play a little bit more respectful in the top lane and not die a bunch early due to multiple ganks from Shrimp. Yep. Regardless, though, it is locked in.
Kassadin last pick, so that does leave Gangplank top lane for Ray, but Keen always has something in his back pocket. This is not too far away from what we might expect him to be playing recently, but people kind of struggle to figure out Vladimir. Cassiopeia was open again, but Keen's like, no, not again. I'm not playing an immobile AP mage into Gragas. I'm going to play Kassadin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see the strategy for the team, because in Europe, Kassadin has a lot of popularity, and they play a lot of spreading the map out, 1-3-1s, and trying to pick people off, chase people down with them. Apex have a little interesting variation here that they've got some extra globals. So Apex are going to want to split up the map probably in 1-3-1 in the same similar situation to Europe, but they also have Tahm Kench support adding extra threat of trying to gank there with maybe AD carry and support coming to add extra damage, cut people off. As well as the Gangplank ultimate.
Well, a big change for Apex, actually. Immortals pretty much stick to the plan. Don't forget, of course, to keep those hashtags rolling in as we continue to tally the votes through the series. We are out under Summoner's Rift, though. Keen does have that teleport. Ray, you know, couldn't do too much flip pushing on his own last time. Decided to give Keen a bit of access to the globals as well. I like the change.
All right. So, keep your eyes on all the different cooldowns for Apex. Immortals are going to have their work cut out for them, trying to keep track of all the teleports, the Tahm Kench ultimate, the Gangplank ultimate, and Shrimp.
Well, it's fun to see Adrian moving up, because brimming with confidence, Adrian thinks kind of already has seen everything Xpecial has to offer.
Haha.
When I play against Xpecial, like, I don't even have to think half the time, because I know what he was already thinking, like, because he's a veteran, he's so old, so, like, he hasn't changed his way of thinking, so it should be an easy game against him.
I love it.
That smile as he just pours it out. I don't even have to think against him. He's an old fart. I don't even set in his ways. I bet he didn't expect this, or maybe he did. But Special going to take up the Tom Kench and try and show Adrian something new.
Well, Adrian, of course, back to his old tricks because he's got Soraka once again. One of the standard lanes again. See if that can play out. Shrimp can get caught. Forced to flash out of the way. Rainover body slams him away, and that's going to be Shrimp back towards his own side of the map.
Yeah, flashes out of there immediately. I don't know how much that will matter. We'll see if they do end up finding that lane swap. The deep ward was placed, but it's not going to cover all their bases. So a little bit of guesswork here from Apex. I don't think they saw Huni. They did see the jungler, though. So, yep, they are going to guess right, though. So Apollo and Special head up on top. Lane swap in game number 2 here. Immortals looking to clean sweep so that they keep up a very good game record as far as winning percentage goes for a possible showdown with TSM if they can even up the series count.
Yeah, looks like Rainover and Huni on the blue, but Special going to try and interrupt them. Might be just eat it? Doesn't have it, I don't think. And they're going to get chased out of the way. Huni's just going to burn him. Special really wants to take this.
He's going to die.
Yeah, doesn't get it, but he misses the flash. That's very bad news. And Special, Huni one more auto, and there's first blood.
I mean, Gragas, okay, so Gragas is one of the most dangerous junglers to try and do that against. You're looking at him level 2 as well. Even if you steal that blue, you're going to die. Definitely should have walked away from that. Stealing a blue and giving over first blood money, definitely not worth it. In the end, he doesn't even steal the blue, also fails his flash, and gives away the first blood. So Rainover didn't even have to blow his flash to get that first blood.
And to make matters worse, Huni's collecting extra CS as well. Special ain't too much on this.
We're going to watch it again. That is rough stuff. Because he could have kept walking away. Rainover had turned back around for the blue buff. He was going to let Special go. In the best case scenario, turning around for that blue buff, Special steals it, flashes over the wall, but Rainover just follows him with his own flash and ends up body slamming and killing him anyways. Regardless, not the optimal start, but we'll get right back into this because that is correctable. It's just the first blood. Contrary to solo queue popular belief, game not over after first blood.
This is a shake of the head there from Special. We'll just have to clear that mind and continue with the path. Immortals 3v0 right now on this bottom lane turret. Lane swap starting out pretty as per usual. Huni got a couple extra CS and then made his way back down here with his teleport. Looks like Ray did the same as they've joined in, and we'll probably have some turrets being traded back and forth. Ray actually kind of busy through the jungle right now. Huni collects the local gold and Apex. Because Special died, they'll be a bit behind on this lane swap, but shouldn't be too far behind. Keen rejoins mid lane. Pobelta actually in trouble. King gonna keep going. He's got the flash.
A lot of trouble.
Pobelta keeps flashing as well, but he's gonna hold it for now. Flash in for Keen. There's the pull from Pobelta. Crimson rush back up, gets his health back, and Keen just can't commit for it. Rainover's gonna move back in. Keen blows him up, but Rainover gonna try and answer back here. Body slam flash is good, and Rainover does get the counter kill.
Well, they're not done yet, Pastry. Ray's here, and Shrimp is guarding the other side.
Oh, barrel's down, but Rainover now gonna flash out of the way. Trying to get it, but the barrel gets him a double. Shrimp gonna try and answer, but Adrian now in for support. Silence field down, looks for the healing. Shrimp exhausted and locked down in the snare, and Rainover gets away with it.
Don't tunnel vision on the screen, guys. Also watch the mini-map. Even when watching Pro League of Legends, you need to watch the mini-map because many people collapsing here once again for the fight that started off as a 1v1 me, bro. I'm going to stick around on your teleport. What you got, Keen? I'm going to rely on my pool here. Bait out your flash. Great. I got your summoner spell. But both junglers are in the area, and neither opponent has vision of the jungler, so a little bit of a missed bait there as Keen gets the kill, but then Rainover sticks around as Ray was able to collapse, and Ray 1 versus 1 with Rainover can't handle that situation, so then it's up to Shrimp to clean it up, but then he wanted to clean up too.
Yeah.
And they're fighting again.
Ambulance rolls in as Rainover and Shrimp back at it. Rainover's level 4 though, as Pobelta now going to move his way in for it. Huni also made his way down. The Flame Spitter on. Repel not going to get him out to safety, and Huni claims that one.
Well, we're not, still not done yet. Ray and Rainover and Huni and Shrimp all back around the mid lane as Shrimp's flash, I don't think was on cooldown and just came off cooldown afterwards here. I didn't quite check it during the fight, but is back up now if they get right back into it. Regardless, this is again the same situation where you get a little caught up in what's on screen. Oh, they're fighting. Oh, another person joined. Cool, another person. Immortals are now 4-1 advantage over Apex. Plus, they have a lot of tempo advantage in the lane swap. And the extra turret to boot.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of tempo advantage converts into a turret that Apex did not get because Xpecial was late back to that top lane. They're going to be up a turret pretty much in this swap, and they've been fighting around. I thought you guys said lane swaps were boring. This is a very exciting start to this game. As Immortals are so far ahead. Oh my god,
swap, baby. Action-packed.
Very, as it turns out. Keen, a little isolated here, but he's had too many friends waddle in. Rainover maybe even looks for a dive. Doesn't have his flash, so we'll just sort of clean this minion wave out. Pobelter feeling pretty healthy. He's got his ultimate. And Keen not level 6 just yet, so he's kind of struggling to get aggressive.
There's a lure in the mid lane. Everybody's coming over to see what's fresh. Anything spawned lately? Nah, okay. Rainover back into the jungle then.
He'll be back.
Yep. Keen looking to get that level 6 though on Kassadin. Try and right the wrongs. Pobelter out to a massive CS lead because of all the shenanigans in mid lane. Same thing for Huni. And that's why Immortals are sitting pretty right now with a very strong early 3,000 plus gold lead.
7 minutes in, that's pretty rough. Rainover's already level 6 as well. So look for a real high impact gank wherever he wants to go next.
Yeah, I am kind of sad we don't get to see this composition shine from Apex with the possibility of 1-3-1 splitting up the map so then you can collapse with all your globals and try and get casted and fed, and it's just we don't really get an accurate judge of this comp and how they intended to play it out, because the intentions were definitely not to start out with this much early action and a 3,400 gold deficit.
Well, conventional certainly not. They'll have to show us the unconventional way now. See if they can't kind of get through this tough early game and maybe see if the comp can shine. Ray is struggling though as Turtle and Adrian just pushing up here. Turtle's even 6. In case he's feeling frisky with an Ash Arrow. Keen again now level 6. Can trade a bit more effectively with Pobelter, but Spectre's car shouldn't be too far off for Vladimir, and he's still sustaining through a ton here. Keen can stay and farm safely most likely, but he's got a lot of catch up to play here as Immortals just straight onto this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, this should be theirs for the taking. Not only do they have the advantage in the game, which is huge, and it'd be very risky for Apex to fight them even on 5-on-5 terms, but there's the teleport for Huni up top side, whereas Apollo's up there for Apex, and he has no way of joining. So Immortal's going to get that Drake lead on top of the gold lead that they have earned. But maybe...
Looking for a kill, Xpecial waiting for it, slow lands in, Shrimpers hits the cocoon, he misses the first one, but Xpecial tags on on the other side as Keen now locked down. Damage still there as Total going to claim one. Nice clean arrow to get that, and now they might get the turret as well.
That's a face bomb there. Xpecial on the Tom Kench gets the kill. That's not where they wanted to go. Plus, they had to trade away 1-for-1 kills, and Apex don't even get really an advantage out of that scenario, as Immortals moved right up from Dragon into the mid lane, collapsed on Keen, got the counter kill. So it was the comeback kind of intended hope there for Apex, where they were trying to get a top lane kill plus turret advantage in exchange for the Drake, but Immortals get that and more back.
To the face.
Yeah, I mean, he's got no chance getting out there. He had flash up, so he could have flashed the arrow. If we are, you know, saying you got to be on your toes, you got to be able to flash those things, but...
I think he might have been under Equinox, actually, so maybe not even an option. Yeah, Soraka actually pretty annoying for the old Kassadin.
Come on, flash away from the Soraka then, huh?
I mean, absolutely.
Get out of range.
I agree with you.
No, you're right.
King getting himself caught, though, as Immortals. They get the mid turret, and Apex really just playing catch-up still after misplaying the early parts of the lane swap because Xpecial again died. Immortals are so good at cascading advantages together, and you can still see they're up. Still the same gold lead, about 3,500 gold, but being up a key turret here and continuing to get stronger. We're not even at first completed items just yet, except Pobelter, he now has that Spirit Visage. Immortals, the pressure's not going to stop, and it only gets worse from here. Apex have a lot of climbing back to do if they're going to get this composition to that mid to late game spot they want it to be at.
Yeah, when you run a composition as flimsy as this one, Ray.
Well, that's gross. Ray flushes out. Rainover going to force him out from under the turret, and Immortal's going to keep pushing. Arrow hits him. Pobelter alley-oop.
Oh my.
Dunks him down. Pobelta's level 9.
Death by Vladimir auto attacks. What a painful way to go.
Way to go.
We finally did get, by enough time, just autoing for the extra transfusion to finish him off. But, man, nails the arrow. There we go. We get to see it in a bit in action, though. That accuracy from Wild Turtle. And Immortals are just completely running away with this game at the moment. Absolutely destroying. And what an unlucky second game here from Apex.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Well, we say that
tongue-in-cheek.
Jokingly, exactly. But yeah, it's too bad we don't get to see more depth from this competition, because it could have been interesting to watch, but now there's just such a big gold deficit they're fighting. It's really hard when you're running such a flimsy setup here to try and actually have enough threat across the map to really pull Immortals apart. Here's an attempt, though.
Maybe King gonna find him. Adrian now gonna try and heal him up. Locks one down, but Expectorals eats him. Huni gonna go down. Trim able to get that first kill, but Immortals are still chasing in. Flashes blown as Apex escape through the Baron pit, the blue buff pit. Sorry, Baron pit's kind of on the other side. Immortals still pushing forward though. Pobelta assaulting this tier 2.
Yeah, global pressure. I mean, they get the ultimates in from Gangplank and from Jin to find a single kill. That is a little bit of gold back in their favor, but it's going to be difficult for them to defend this turret regardless.
And Immortals are just going to walk up and take it. Apex know they can't challenge right now. Immortals continuing to grow a substantial lead in this game. 5,000 gold up now. We're only 12.5 minutes in. So watch this pick again.
Yeah, Huni run up through the river, no vision, and Shrimp and Xpecial are here. Surprise! Gangplank ultimate cuts off his port. Xpecial eats him up, spits him right out into the bullet, and Shrimp actually was the one to get the execution.
Here comes Rift Herald though. Looks like Rainover might be the one to pick it up because Huni's not in the area. It does so indeed. And again, Immortals are continuing to play them up well. They've got the first Drake, they'll take the first and only Rift Herald. Ray's finally caught up in experience, which is good news for the Gangplank. He was level 5 at one point to Pobelta's 9. But the lane swap's just been a tragedy for Apex, unfortunately. And the Immortals just continuing to play up and aggressive because, hey, they've got a lead. They know they can play with it.
Yeah, pretty funny actually there. The Rainover taking the glimpse of the Void buff off of the Rift Herald, because it just reminds me of the story back when we played the last show match and Huni was playing on the North American squads team, and I gave him the old, it was the old Rift Herald buff, but he was so happy. He's like, oh my god, you give me the Rift Herald buff, top laner? Rainover never gives it to the top laner. He always takes it for himself. He's like, it's a jungling buff, 100%. Keep your hands off, Huni, and true to form. Snag this one up. Honestly, the new one especially, though, is also right good in his hands. Anybody actually right now, a 6,000 gold lead at 14 minutes for Immortals.
Yeah, it's a really skewed game as it turns out. Immortals are just so far ahead. Apex will do what they can. Apollo going to collect some farm here, but Rainover threatening. Doesn't have his flash, but that's an arrow sailing past Shrimp. Turns himself back into spider form. Needs a bit of extra movement speed to get out from under potential engage.
Yeah, and Huni and Pobelta are keeping up the chase. The Vladimir and Rumble are coming to head Shrimp off.
Shrimp did not take that Tom Kent ultimate, so now he's just calling out. Xpecial left him out to dry, and Huni gets himself a kill.
No, Xpecial's fault. You got to jump in that. I guess that was a little lack of communication there. Shrimp and Xpecial not able to say, hey, jump in quick. We're out of here, dude.
And that is another kill being gifted over to Immortals as they're looking to take down yet another tier 2 turret. They've actually only got this one left. Top and mid lane have lost their turrets. Immortals are going to take 6 turrets in awfully quick fashion. And Apex, again, they're still just trying to find their farm. King does have his Rod of Ages, but Trinity Force feels far away. And Apollo, that's just a bad look. Rainover not going to commit for him, though. Immortals just happy to zone them off and take their turret instead. Ooh, Gangplank ulti committed. Might be enough to get them off this push of the turret. Rainover looking to counter-engage. Oh, Shrimp getting aggressive. Keen's going to dive his way in. Huni going to try and turn it around. Snared up, though, in the wrong way. Flame's been not there, but Soraka healing is Pobelta. Leaps forward and zones Keen out of the way. So Equalize going to cut off a few more. Xpecial now going to be the first to go down. Perhaps as Pobelta just dive straight past the turret. Awfully aggressive as they took out Elise and the Tom Kent. And Pobelta just going to claim them in as Immortals leap forward for another turret.
Yep, Ray is off on that Gangplank. Haven't seen him on screen in quite a long time. He's going to work on the minions and tries to lend his ultimate at least, but Immortals run right through it, into the inhibitor turret. That one's down. 15, 16 minutes, and there's Ray on your screen now.
Yeah, just
hey, bud.
taking what farm he can, but it feels like Apex, we've seen it a couple times in their series, is, you know, they have a good game one, but they kind of narrowly lose or even narrowly win sometimes and maybe have struggled to close it out. And it's hard for a team to maintain momentum through a best of 3. Immortals are definitely a team that carry momentum exceptionally well through any sort of game or series. Feels like Apex have maybe thrown in the towel already, but they'll keep playing for a little while longer. It's just rough.
And this is why, yeah, exactly. This is why we say it's so hard to run a high pressure comp like this. You need to have threat in those side lanes to force Immortals to choose and actually have some opportunity cost for grouping up on one area. But there's not much threat on any side for Apex. So Immortals able to stay together. Soraka heal keeps everybody healthy. And they run it straight through. Kill the turret on the way as well. Get some flashes.
So Belter is actually pretty tanky at this stage. Has a Rylai's and a Spirit Visage, so comfortably diving turrets on Vladimir. Usually not where you want to be. Ray's now got his Trinity Force, so that's a shred of good news here for Apex.
Yeah, that's calming to get to the point where barrels one-shot everything in the minion wave. And cash
therapeutic.
In. It is. It's like, I tried to carry so hard last game. Really rough loss, but I'm just going to go ahead CS on Gangplank for a while. Cha-ching.
If it gets big enough,
Cha-ching.
there is maybe hope, but 9,000 gold up for Immortals is a insurmountable looking lead, given how early we are into this game. And Immortals, they are never done with the pressure.
Yeah, it is the drawback of this style where Kassadin doesn't have much wave clear, so unless you have Gangplank in the area, it's really hard to defend a dive. Gangplank can get to the point, and as we see him get there now, with the barrels, where he can clear a lot of waves with barrels.
Ooh!
Oh!
Trip to the face! It's an arrow from Turtle as Pobelta cleans him off the rift. Pobelta now going to chase him into the base. Healing up so much there, his King just going to get maybe 1v3 kind of. Pobelta looking a little crazy. Adrian going to heal him up though, and Immortals break the midsection. They're going to take down this inhib as well.
We can have a pre-20-minute win here, Paystreak?
Maybe. What was the fastest game this season?
It was from Immortals. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but they're the ones who hold the record.
Maybe they're going for it again here. Ulti out from Apollo, going to try and clear something out of the way. Gangplank's ulti committed already though, as Immortals just taking pot shots at this bottom inhibitor. Pobelta continuing to zone them off as Huni finally joins the rest of his team. And that's another wave of supers now going to start to brew in the bottom lane. Immortals might just go for the throat here as Shrimp takes a big chunk of poke.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you can just, at this point, you can stay in there at the Nexus and farm all 3 waves at once, but they decide to turn around and go get 3 inhibitors to end the game out instead. 19 minutes.
Gonna do this the classic way. Game not over yet, but feels close. Is that another turret break? Shrimp gonna get caught, repels out. They're probably not getting out of this one. Rainover almost bopped him. Pobelta's just straight into the back line. Xpectral pops his thick skin to make sure he stays alive, but Immortal's gonna claim another inhibitor. Good luck, Apex, because this is awfully tough to defend. About as close to impossible as it gets.
Yeah, Immortals kill 3 inhibitors before 20 minutes. Farm for late.
I think that about summarizes it.
This is where you start telling your gut team, all right, guys.
We're scaling.
We got to farm for late. Farm for late. There's another arrow. Nails them. They don't hesitate to dive afterwards. And you know how that story ends. Hey, snag the blue buff, though. That'll help you farm for late. You need to buy a very long time. And Immortals aren't a team that really waits around for you.
They might not even wait for Baron. In fact, they could do it at 20 minutes. They're kind of in the area. Shrimp, knowing this, actually going to try and clear out the Scuttlecrow vision. Blue buff, though, over to no one. Katsuni wants to kill. Tag Shrimp. Arrow not going to quite get there, but Shrimp doesn't really have anywhere good to go, though. Rylai's not going to slow him down, but Pobelta's going to keep chasing. Rainover gets him over with a body slam. Nice little repel, but Rainover just going to set up a trap, and there's the kill.
Up into the repel to dodge 1 barrel, but Rainover knows where you're going. You can only come back down on him unless you want to die to Pobelta, so leaves a new barrel there.
At least he got to choose how he died, right?
Yep. Don't die to the ultimate. Die to the Q instead.
And look at this wave of super minions. Apollo only got 4 bullets, struggling to clear them out. His Immortals just going to go for it here. Ultimate out from Apollo. Gangplank going to commit. Cannon barrage as well. Keen trying to poke in there with a bit of harass from Cassidy, but they're just base tanking the damage here. Pobelta continuing to zone them out of the way. He might just go in for a Rainover. Huge body slam onto 2. And Pobelta still staying himself alive. It's forced to flash out of the way, but the Nexus is open and ripe for the taking. And Immortals, they'll leap forward to try and close out the game. Apollo's going to get burnt to cinders. And that's going to be 2-0 Immortals in awfully quick fashion.
I have to say, while TSM are undefeated and they have crushed a lot of their opponents, they have not beaten people as badly as Immortals beat teams. I mean, the quickest games have been Immortals absolutely crushing people. And this game was complete control from them.
We talked about it. It really just was the only mishap. It was unfortunate the way that game started. Immortals got such a huge lead to start things off. But they're the kind of team that plays very well with that lead. We talk about Apex getting good leads but maybe not converting. Immortals never fail to convert, it feels like, when they get ahead. Another solid game for them. We've been talking about it for weeks. We just want to play TSM. Well, they did have to play Apex first in a convincing 2-0, especially in that second game here, as the teams will shake hands. Apex, some great moments once again, but putting it all together towards the end of the season, they're going to have to look and dig real deep to try and push their way through, because if they do sneak into that last playoff spot, this is a team that maybe with some time can really do some damage. The question is, do they have enough time? Because we're very close to the end of the season now.
Yeah, and everyone needs to keep in mind that Apex, this is the first split they've been in the LCS. This is one of our new teams. So for them to get to playoffs is actually a good feat for them. Immortals as well, technically. I mean, I guess they also are new as they got thrown together this year.
Okay.
But man, they are looking very good right now.
And kind of starting off where they left off in the spring, right? Dominating, not quite undefeated for a long stretch of it, but I'm sure they're not too unhappy with how things are going.
Yeah. Talk about rookie splits. It's a great regular season for them last split, but their improvements are coming in playoffs.
And they keep showing that as well, right? Like they've talked about it. Everyone always says, you know, shut down Rooney over shut down Huni, and that's Immortals done. Not really been the case. Like those 2 games, Huni just kind of let it happen on Rumble. He's like, Ray's a good player. Ray had a dominant game 1, and then definitely a ton of mishaps in game 2. But Huni was like just kind of doing Rumble stuff, you know, moving around the map, playing with his team. It was Wild Turtle that was a big star of a lot of these games here, and people can't sleep on the fact that they have more carries than just Huni and Rainover now. Immortals, they say they want to expand their style. They're starting to show that.
Definitely is out of the ordinary to have Rainover in bottom lane as much as he was in that game number 1. And as you say, you know, they're trying to show a couple different looks here in the normal season, and they've been able to do that. So Immortals definitely trying to prep on multiple fronts here and get ready for playoffs. Make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again.
I feel like maybe Adrian didn't get the message yet. He's like,
oh, yeah.
Sona, he's got the Soraka.
Well, he played Tarek as well.
He's
dipping his toes into the pool a little bit.
Oh.
Now maybe he'll play Tom Kench. Saw Specials. Tom Kench there. Special did get a kill.
He did. Adrian had strong words for Special, unfortunately, at the top of that game as well. Immortals just continuing to put on a clinic. This team looks almost unstoppable. There's only one team that could beat them. Again, that match is kind of showing up. It'll be, I believe, in the last week of the regular season for the summer. They keep talking about it. Be curious to see what happens when they do play, but Immortals continuing to show strong form here.
Well, the last week is quickly approaching pastry time. Definitely looking forward to it.
Well, now for a deeper dive into that game, let's check in with a coach. Actually, I believe we have an interview standing by on the stage.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by Coach Dylan of Immortals. I should say Dr. Dylan, like you guys said, putting on a clinic here, and I am with one of the head doctors. I got to ask you, with a team that continues to win, has such a good record, what is actually your biggest challenge as a coach?
I think for all of our coaching staff at Immortals, because it's just not me, the biggest challenge is just staying consistent. Like, it's a really long season, and at the end of the day, what really matters is playoffs. So I think preparing ourselves for the long haul, for playoffs and for Worlds, is probably what's been the most challenging.
And what does practice look like? What is a focus for Immortals with a team that always does well? Your engages work. You have hardly any troubles during a game. What do you actually focus on to continue to get better when everything's still going right?
I know it looks like everything's going right, but even in the games we're winning, right, there's a lot we feel we can improve on. Like with every game, even with short wins, even with decisive wins, there's always things we can be looking at to improve. So I feel like there's no shortage of things to look at during practice and stuff we're focusing on.
Well, it's always a perfect mindset to have. Obviously, it continues to be the catalyst that catapults you guys forward. My final question to you, 6-1-4 is coming up in a pretty ominous time for playoffs to happen. Is this something that helps Immortals with their ability to adapt, or could it hurt you guys?
Well, I think the main thing of the changes is there's going to be a lot more standard lanes. And I think for any team that has such strong laners as Immortals, like we have, I think it's going to be good for us. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty big change, so we're going to have to see as the patch comes. But for us, I'm looking forward to the change.
Sounds great. I'm sure the fans are as well. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck in future matches as they go. You guys are very close to that international and playoff position. Now we're going to throw it back to the desk to end off that game.
Thank you very much, Riv. Great to hear from Coach Dylan of Immortals. We don't always get to hear the coach's perspective on the team and the games that they're playing. Immortals, though, 2-0 over Apex. This game was just absolutely insane. 21 minutes and 8-second victory from Immortals. So, you know, this is more reminiscent of the 18-minute victories we were seeing from them in Spring Split. They went hard, and they did not stop for this entire game.
The funniest thing to me was the game ending with 4 people alive on both teams, but there's just double super minions coming at 20 minutes in the game. Like, no character is strong enough to really defend against those, and they just kind of pummeled the Nexus down with everyone alive. It was pretty funny. Now,
in contrast, though, to what's happening over on the TSM side of things on NALCS 1, where they did take the first victory over Phoenix 1, in a fast game itself, but in a very low action game, very much starved them out. Immortals is the team that's very happy to go a little bit ham, to create those really high action, chaotic games and find their advantages there. And they did exactly that. We saw within the first few minutes of the game an insane amount of pressure to all the lanes, specifically in that mid lane here. As we'll notice, 5 minutes in, there's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Immortals, an aggressive Kassadin at level 4.
I think this is a situation where you should be happy getting the TP out and flashing, but that's not how Immortals plays. They go, they try and bait him in so that Rainover can get it, turns around, boom, Keen kills it. No, most people might back off, but here, Rainover was able to pick up the kill. Once again, maybe he's flashes out, he's trying to get out, anything like that. Nope, he just kills Ray as well. It's going to turn around and fight him because he's only level 2 to his level 4. Gets a nice barrel over the wall, and I think this
snipe.
Yeah, speaks to Rainover as a player. He's so calm.
And then in comes the ambulance.
Yep. The Soraka ambulance.
The exhaust, the heals to keep him safe. That ends up being 2-for-1. 2 big kills going over Rainover. He'd already been a part of 2 kills prior to that. So at 5 minutes, he was already 2-0-2 in the game. That's an absolutely nuts kill participation. It speaks to the amount of craziness that was already happening on the map so early.
Yeah, so even in that first play where Pobelter died, he didn't even have to die because Keen actually had 2 points into E. And when he walked back in, Pobelter actually killed himself by charging up his E to try and kill Keen. So that kind of just speaks to how aggressive they are. But even then, like, Rainover played that really, really well.
And that's why I kind of want to take this series and remove Immortals from this series and speak about them more in the context of the league itself and their matchups against other teams. For example, TSM, because Immortals is the kind of team that wants to go back in and create more action because they're confident that they will come out ahead in the skirmish game, right? If people keep funneling in, we will mechanically outplay you. We will skirmish better than you. TSM might still be confident in that area, but we saw it very evidenced to us in this previous game on the other stream that TSM, they don't need kills to win games. They're happy to just blow your summoners, go take an objective, rotate over here, make sure we've got minion waves pushing there. They're going to play a much more slower pace macro game.
I think it takes 2 to tango in a sense. So you see here that they're getting baited in, and like you see Keen TP, and he's like chasing really hard for the kill. And I think you might not see that out of TSM the same way where TSM, like we saw in their game when they got a lead, they didn't feel like they had to get everything possible, squeeze the last drop out of that small advantage. Like TSM will just take the lead and back off. And so I think it might be a hard matchup for Immortals where they're always pushing harder and harder and harder, and they can backfire, whereas TSM just takes the lead and they don't keep pushing as hard as they can.
I feel like Immortals is like pushing their limits like as hard as they can, and on top of that, it's just very, I don't know, maybe it's better for practice that way because they can see where they can finally go, while TSM kind of like just calm, collected, doesn't really like overextend. They don't really get complacent. Like for example, Immortals went undefeated the split before, but maybe they're trying to lose so they don't get complacent. I don't know. It feels like they gain more out of like going super hard and finding their like key point for limit, and maybe they'll just like restrain themselves later. So I don't know how that's going to play in.
Well, yeah, it's a curiosity, and being able to hear from Dylan a little bit about the team and their efforts this split to really to shore up the weaknesses that had been exposed in Spring Split, right? The fact that they were kind of stuck in a singular meta and couldn't find their way out of it. They're doing what they can now in the regular season to test their limits, test their strengths and weaknesses so that they don't run into that same issue when they make it to playoffs.
I think the most interesting thing from that interview was talking about the proposed changes on 6.15 about the lane swaps and how it's going to impact them. If you ever were worried about your team getting complacent, now there's a whole different meta coming in. You can't possibly be complacent when everything's going to change. And on top of the fact that it might favor some team strengths, like he was saying, they have really strong laners, and they're really looking forward to that. Whereas TSM is a team, like we saw in their game that they just played, that in the 2v1, they will pick you apart and slowly get advantages over and over and over. And that might not be possible, or at least the optimal strategy in the coming patches.
Yeah, those changes in the weeks to come will make League of Legends in general very interesting as people are figuring out how exactly to play around those changes. Now, player of the game for this game in particular, Reignover 406 on Gragas. You saw it in that replay, right place, right time. When is he ever not in the right place at the right time? And got his team out to a very early lead, securing those kills and helping with a few ganks.
Yeah, overall, just a solid game from him. You see his team as a team that just goes absolutely crazy sometimes, and I think it used to be Pole Belter as kind of the rock that we always talked about, but I think Reignover is one of them too. You never see him worried. You never see him bite off more than he can chew usually. I mean, everyone makes mistakes, but his never seemed to be the kind where it's like, oh, I thought I could have killed him, but I couldn't.
When you talk about veteran status, Dyrus, it just appears, even if you don't watch his player cam, watching his character itself, it always feels like he is so calm, that his heart rate hasn't budged since, minute one, whereas everybody else is probably freaking out in the middle of team fights. I feel like Reignover is always so aware, so smart and intelligent about this game.
Yeah, he always makes the best decision. Like, if one of his teammates messes up, he always goes for the most optimal play. He's always there to bail them out, and he's always there to either start it or, save someone.
All right, well, that's going to do it here for NALCS 2. The stream entirely, Immortals rather, taking the 2-0 victory over Apex to close out the day there. It's time now for us to send you all over to NALCS 1, where TSM is currently jumping into Champions Select against Phoenix 1, looking to close out their series in a 2-0 sweep as well.
Out of Fury, and you can see he's actually having a pretty good time, despite the pressure that's being put out against him. Gnar banned away from Hanser. There's the Hecarim as well, and Vladimir will be taken off the board. So Sivir's still up. Yeah, Phoenix 1 could try to take that away from Doublelift. Mash has been playing it quite a bit.
See if TSM is going to leave that. Available Gangplank is the ban, so same bans across the board here for TSM. And Gnar was kind of the big change there for P1. Obviously did not like how that matchup went, even though they got that Aurelia into it, which a lot of people are generally pretty happy about. Will be Sivir first pick